Good afternoon, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First AI Daily, your collaborative intelligence report. We've decided 1 p.m. Central on Fridays probably is more reasonable to adhere to than 4 or 5. So here we are, midday Friday. It's been a fun week, man.
It has. It has, and it just got a little bit more, right? Just got a little bit more turned up for Friday.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give our agents a chance to
Oh yeah.
tell
Yep.
us why. Because I'm super like
Always interested
if
to see if they pick up on the same stories that we have seen in the day, and if they
right.
rank them in the same way that we do. And to be
Yeah.
honest, this is so interesting to me, guys. If you start following us now, this is probably one of the most interesting parts of the show because you're now watching agents that we only know us by context and only understand the type of news that we're trying to deliver daily. And they're able to, so far, they're able to hit right, nail on the head in terms of what their top three are compared to what our top three would be, which, obviously a new model release going to be hopefully at the top of the list. We'll see.
Yeah. And like we're testing the research capabilities, right? Because I
Mhm.
ran this. Um, by the way, it's like mid-session. Yes, there was a bunch of other stuff happening, but it was still based on the show. And I built some commands to try and support doing this on the regular. But this is gonna be a great example based on what I shared in Slack. If I had done the processing and preparation, like, at the begin every day at 6 AM, right? Like, or if you miss, like, I wanna see if this had an impact, um, and, like, I'm probably gonna wanna run it. We need to set it so it runs, like, right before the show, right?
Mhm.
Uh Number 3, Google published Atlas v 1.0, 15 million real interactions showing AI reaches 68% of occupations, but fully automates under 10% of tasks. The study covers 150 plus countries, 140 language, 800 occupations, and 4,000 tasks drawn from Gemini app, AI mode, and the Gemini API. And it is the largest grounded read on what people actually do with AI at work rather than what vendors claim. In a typical job, AI is used for roughly 21% of tasks, and fewer than 1 in 10 of those interactions ends in full automation. The rest is collaboration. That is the number to size an agent program against. The realistic near term return is a well chosen fifth of the work done alongside a person, not a role handed over. By the way, the name of the show is your collaborative intelligence report. We've been saying this for a little bit now, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy to read these words.
I mean, to me, okay, so this whole thing of automates under 10% of tasks, right? The, Chris and I were talking about this. I don't know whether it was on air or off air. Kind of doesn't matter because it's coming either way. And it's not just going to be me, it's going to be other people too. Putting together this calculator that is going to be able to take into account all the necessary data points in order to show you a statistic. Now, the way that this technology works, so far as I have seen, is that it's like the force. And I've seen people use it for great good, and I've seen people use it for bad. So, because it generates this statistic, it can be used in a negative way to say, oh, wow, I can automate XYZ percentage of somebody's job, because that is what it's going to display as given the job title, given the tech, the AI tech available, the potential stack, this, that, and the other thing. It will show you, okay, could automate, 70%, whatever, 30%, whatever it might be. Now, you might take that and say, oh, okay, well, now I can lop overhead because I know that this position is actually more able to be automated than I thought. Reality of what the purpose of that tool is to show you at an organizational level, hey, here's how much BS this job is. And you need to give this person more valuable work to be done than this stuff that you are giving them. Like this, the mail room stuff has to go away. You know what I mean? Like that whole idea of, hey, let's have, somebody, doing meaningless work all day long and judge them based on this meaningless work they're doing all day long. You know, you wonder why you guys have so much like turnover and why that revolving door just won't shut. And it's because of things like this, right? So I love this because it's like, yeah, as this metric keeps going forward, hopefully it's doing it in a seemingly gradual way that is able to like cull that herd of, hey, these are the tasks that we should have been attempting to automate, this entire time through some other method, to the point where adding AI was just going to be the icing on the cake. And now look at, the more meaningful like value that we're able to deliver based on the overhead that we already have, right? Like,
Yeah.
in other words, make better use. Like this is going to teach you how to
Right.
make better use of your organization.
Did you see Dharmesh's posts this week about token maxing and value maxing?
Yep. Yep.
Um, so did I, and I'm glad this was a perfect segue into those. And there's a couple like how lucky are we just that he can just share his train of thought like online, and like it's always helped me kind of believe in HubSpot, like at certain moments in time when you can hear like founder CTO, like, and one, he's transparent about how he thinks about stuff, but two, like you can see what, like, good luck seeing some posts like this from uh other other tech leaders outside of places like, I think, Dario and like Claude, like
Right.
Anthropic's team. Like that's why it's like as soon as you see those flags, it's like, okay, I'm aligned until you you show me that that was a bad idea. So the age of token maxing was thankfully short lived. Uh, Looks like we've moved to a more healthy interpretation of the idea. Yes, we want to maximize our use and adoption of AI, but we want to do so in a way that creates value. Mindlessly spending tokens is fine if you're experimenting, but not as a flex to show that you're using AI. Token maxing can turn into a vanity metric, and already has, arguably.
Yeah.
Instead, we should move to value maxing. How do you use AI to generate value, either doing things faster slash cheaper or even better? Do things you simply couldn't do before. AI changes the economics of what's now possible. Things that used to be impossibly expensive are now often possible and affordable. This is what HubSpot is spending a lot of calories on and making investments in, helping our customers move to value maxing with AI. He continues this a couple days later, 15 hours ago. I was wrong. I was wrong about how I talked about token maxing. So I wrote an article a few days ago about how you shouldn't be token maxing, and I still stand behind that, but I didn't express my actual thoughts well. In my head, I define token maxing as solving for consuming the most amount of tokens possible, reward token consumption, reprimand people that are not consuming the most tokens possible. I'm doing it again. I'm framing the idea of token maxing as just solving for consuming the most amount of tokens. But that's not the only interpretation of the idea. You could also think of it as, if you're getting a positive return on tokens, then spend as many tokens as possible, because more tokens means more positive return. And if you frame it that way, then I'm all for people spending more tokens. One thing I definitely don't believe in is putting an artificial limit on how many tokens they can spend if they are getting a real return on token. I just saw this acronym for the first time. ROT question mark.
See, I
Maybe-
was just gonna
maybe
say
not.
like ROTS, right? Return on token spend, but it's all right.
Right. Okay, it's late. All right. So then what I love to do is show this to the HubSpot folks that I talk to and say, see, it's okay. Like here's like permission. Like
Yeah, right.
let's help them communicate in like get away from the how many tickets are we closing, how many hours are we saving. And if I can show and point like this is what HubSpot's working on, we all know that HubSpot's also like a real corporate company, and that message doesn't always,
Make
you
it
don't
all the way
always
down.
feel it on the front lines, especially when talking to a salesperson. So it's great to see, and shout out to Chad Stam, who correctly noted that value maxing is a value first idea if he's ever heard one. So definitely adding that to the value vocabulary. But yeah, like this could be read and probably will be read wrong in a lot of ways, but it automates under 10% of tasks because of what people actually do with AI at work, rather than what AI is capable of, rather than what the vendors tell you it's doing. And as they cherry pick the people who are very good at using AI, right? Say, oh, they automated this and automated that, right? It's about if your humans haven't been good enough to stop doing data entry, they're not going to be good enough to put AI in a position to automate everything.
Nope.
Right? So if you want to do that, you should give me or Nico a call, or give both of us a call, and we can come in and help you do that.
Transition.
AI native shifts, everybody. Black Forest Labs #2 shipped Flux 3, generating 20-second video with native synchronized audio from one model. Flux 3 is trained jointly on images, video, and audio rather than stitching separate models together. And it handles text to audio, text to video, image to video, video to video, keyframe transitions, multilingual dialogue, and clip chaining. Flux 3 video is available now through the API. Image generation is in early access within weeks, and the action prediction backbone is partner only for now. For anyone producing show clips, explainers, or campaign assets, the audio being native rather than a separate pass removes the step where sound and picture get reconciled by hand.
I mean, just one more step towards 30-second videos, which we are at, right? And there are some that produce 1 minute long video, but 20 seconds at a time is perfect. I know for like, and here's the funny part. A lot of people out there are saying to themselves, or saying to other people, wow, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Why is it that these things can only do 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds? Like, what's the big deal? Why not 30 seconds? Why not a minute? Let's just put the processing time behind. Like, let's just forget about the compute that it takes to pump this kind of stuff out. Even that aside, for most people, like, I seriously doubt, and to Dharmesh's point about token maxing versus value maxing versus token wasting, right? Or token burn, the odds that a person, like, I don't know, I can't say this because I'm sure it will happen, but there's going to be people who definitely, if it got to that point where you could just pump out an hour and a half long video with one prompt, you're going to have people doing that, right? And who knows how long that's going to take. Hopefully the processing at the time that it's able to do it is very fast, and it doesn't cost very much compute, and it doesn't feel like it's going to burn half a redwood tree down, right? But it's very likely that it may not, right? I have no clue. the point, or what I'm getting at here, is if you are somebody who loves film and you study film and you study movies and you're a cinephile and you want to be a director and you want to be, in that aspect of the business, 20 seconds is amazing for you. If you actually pay attention to most of the movies that you watch, the great majority, and I'm talking like 90% plus, do not use long takes. Like the longest they go is like 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. Boy, is it a stretch if we're on the same scene for 30 seconds, right? Because there's this without a cut, mind you. So, like, when people are talking in a scene, this person's talking, that person's talking, this person's talking. How much time is that? 2 seconds to say a sentence, 3 seconds to say a sentence, whatever it is, right? This length of time is perfect for making a movie. Believe me, like if you understand it and how much you can control in 20 seconds with a prompt versus how much you would be able to control over 2 minutes or 3 minutes with a prompt. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you're leaving a lot to the engine if you're saying, like, hey, in a 3 minute time span, go from this to this, right? And here's a starting image and an ending image, right? You're asking the engine to make up a lot. There's a lot of fantasy and make believe that has to go on there in between. So that should honestly also lean towards like, hey, these things are getting very good at that too, at understanding how to fantasize, right? How to make up the frames in between. It's not just like people can say, like, I think a lot of people break it down into a mechanical thing just so that it doesn't feel like it's like that close to human, right? Because even if you tell me, oh, it's just making an interpretation from this frame to that frame. Okay, well, that's what we would be doing anyway. If you were animating the frames, you would be making an interpretation from frame 1 to frame 10. It's often how animation works is you do the one frame, you do whatever the near end frame and then the end frame, and then you start drawing all the ones in between, right? It's just an interpretation of whatever's going on. So I don't know. I think it's awesome. The fact that 6 months ago we had VO3, which was like the first step into, hey, it can do everything all together, voice, sound effects, dialogue, anything like that, as well as sound effects and the obviously like the video and the quality itself, plus the fact that you could actually like take a still and draw on it to actually direct what was going on or going to happen in the video clip. So there is like where a lot of people think that this is going to be a thing where like, oh, just somebody just prompted and produced. There's so much nuance that goes on beneath it. There is going to be like AI video producer job, AI video director job. Like people are going to have their own interpretations. And
Yeah.
with that comes understanding how to use the model extremely well. Right.
Right. As I was thinking about recruiting help um, with the collective, like doing all these things, like who wants to participate, and somebody stepped up, and I was thinking about like the job description or the role description,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, everybody's going to be an AI orchestrator.
Yep.
It's just like, what part are you focused on? Like that's the difference, right?
Yep.
And that's where, like, connected back to like the first story. That's why a lot of stuff is so far away from or might not get to full autonomy based on what the goal is. Like, as you were talking about it, I'm just reminded of like, I love watching the behind the scenes director's cut stuff
Hmm.
of movies and TV. And I remember the Stranger Things after that, like they talked about one of the biggest scenes of the season that was all like single shot or one shot, or I forget the word that they used, but no cuts, like not allowed them to cut. Right.
Yeah. Long take.
And if long takes and like, um, what they have to do is imagine frames like in their mind and then design like the ability to do it, to do what they're
Yep.
trying to do, right? And that's effectively like what AI needs to do if you give it this frame and then this frame. Um, I mean, fun times,
Yeah.
man. We're gonna see
Yeah.
what our top story is here now. What?
Ooh. Wow, really?
This has to
I
be a
mean,
homer. This is a homer call.
yeah.
um,
It's okay, look, I don't want to say swing and a miss. You know what? Okay, I understand why this came up because we are HubSpot centric.
yeah,
So
that's
in
what I
terms of
mean.
like all the news, but then that also kind of tells me that like that news that I was expecting to see didn't even make it into the top 3. Like that's strange,
Well,
basically.
I think, yeah, which let's get to that after we,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
because it is, I mean, it's a big deal. And this also tells me
Huge.
that HubSpot probably did a good job with PR and announcement. And it's so hard to see that stuff. And let me just say it out loud. HubSpot opened Agent Hub and Agent Builder in public beta to every professional and enterprise portal. Agent Builder puts workflows, custom agents, and trigger logic on one canvas with native access to the portal's own substrate, deal history, contact record, call transcripts, readiness signals, with no separate data configuration, and it can be configured in natural language through Breeze Assistant. Agent Hub is the operating console over it, live status and performance for every running agent, one-click activation of dormant ones, and the agent marketplace in the same place. The practical shift is that agents stop being isolated point tools that act on the same relationship without knowing about each other and start sharing one context, which means the portal's data quality is now the ceiling on what your agents can do. Man, I don't know who's writing this stuff, but I'm hopeful that it's like a combination of the agent doing the research and whatever PR has happened. Because that's a pretty good call out. Like we've been saying it for a while. All this stuff is cool until your data is garbage.
Right.
Then it can't do anything for you. And yeah, I missed it on the morning show yesterday, so a little bit jealous of Casey and Trisha because I was at an in-person Academy Labs event. But going to be super interesting to see how this plays out. Like from a credits perspective, from like all of the kinds of perspectives that we've been talking about, because, and this one is just fresh in my mind. Like I was talking to Madeline earlier, we're talking about scheduling the newsletter for another Orange Morning, and I don't have Data Hub. And as she was trying to do it in the workflows tool, like that scheduling aspect of the workflow was locked because you need Data Hub for that. And now that's the old workflows tool. I now have access to the agent builder, which we can build agents or workflows in. And like, how many different ways can I achieve the same result without needing to purchase Data Hub? Right? I know I will be able to get there. It's really just a question of, are you also blocking the Data Hub? Are you also gating tools over in this agent space where everything's supposed to be possible? Or not? And if you are, which agent do I have to build to overcome that goal? And how much is that agent run going to cost me? And then is that cost more or less than Data Hub?
Right.
Right. So I can't imagine, and this is also why I suggest like AI is the only one who can figure out how they're going to move everything from licenses and seats and all this stuff all the way to credits, all the way to usage, because it is like that thing I just talked about happens every single day of like, it's so hard to understand what you're paying for and what you have access to based on licenses and seats and now credits.
Yeah.
Right. And from a budget perspective, I want us to get to a place where if you just focus on your capabilities and the value that's being created, like you won't need to worry about the credits. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna ask the team to see if this was a homer call. But in the world of CRM, it definitely is a big deal.
It is.
Um, so what we were curious about, see if I still have it, was, let's see here. If I go to my screenshots folder and then wait for this guy. Anybody else have Opus 5 available in their portals, in their cloud code or anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
They, like you said in Slack, they're pretty quiet.
I mean, like it got released and then we got on and then I saw it in my email. And it's like I'm watching it as I'm working in design. I'm like busting out some stuff. And all of a sudden I just see it go to, I had it on Opus 4.8 low. And I refreshed the page because it got stuck on something seemingly. And then all of a sudden it's Opus 5 low. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess that happened. And I go check my email, no announcement. But then I go to web and there's the screenshot or whatever, like, oh, Opus 5, of course, per usual. Try our latest and greatest model. Right. So it's I don't I mean, you know where I sit on this, but yeah, it's so far clearly so amazing. The jump really on like Sweebench is significant. Look, when you guys see like even 1 or 2% increases, it may not seem like much, but it actually is a lot. Like especially as you start getting towards like the higher percentage levels, it makes a massive difference. Um the major jump here is that it went from like I think on the front end bench, right, which is primarily like I use Opus low and it just I mean hammers through any front end design that you need like so quickly. Um Otherwise you'd have to use like Sonnet 5 like extra high or high and it's not that it won't do it or can't get there, it takes longer. And the token cost is nearly the same at those levels. So anyhow, um was using Opus 4.8 low, was going fine. It's not like it couldn't handle anything. 5 low is pretty much, I would say, twice as fast. Like it feels like it's about twice as fast. So like I'm asking it to do new pages and updates and stuff, and it's definitely happening faster than it was with 4.8. So I think it just understands things better, easier, right? So yeah, the front end benchmark went from something like 12% or 14%, and now it's like 50%, like 48 or 50%. So if you weren't too satisfied with the 10% jump, it's like a 30% jump in terms of understanding front end coding. And I don't know where this puts things overall in terms of like how well is it now against your typical like front end designer. I don't know what those benchmarks look like. I just know that these things, obviously, they just keep crushing it out, right? Like it just keeps getting more and more advanced, better and better models. Uh, again, like you're always using the worst version of whatever model it is that you're using. It's never going to get like worse than that. It's only ever going to get better than that. So it's crazy to me that like I don't know what Haiku 5 is going to look like, you know what I mean? But like Haiku 5 is going to be essentially overqualified for writing emails. You know what I mean? Like that's the level. I hope you guys get that by now. Like it's 2026. We started these whole shenanigans in 2022. We're 4 years in, barely, because we got to get to the end. We'd have to get to November to consider it a full 4, and we're only in we're barely at beginning of August so far, end of July. So clearly going to be another model drop, even with Claude between now and November. There's going to be another one. I don't know that it'll be 6, but I'm pretty sure we'll see like whatever 5.4 or something like that, whatever it's going to be. With GPT, maybe we see GPT-6. I don't know. I have no clue what that looks like, right? They seem to be going with 5.6, and that's definitely a step further than 5.5 was. So maybe they just keep going for like 5.7, 5.8. I don't know. What I do know is that, yeah, I really do believe that once Haiku 5 lands, it's gonna be real quiet in terms of the whole like, yeah, but it's not very good at. And it's already very quiet. And I've honestly stopped saying it because I just haven't come across it in like 2 months, 3 months. The whole like, it hallucinates sometimes. You almost have to, like, I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. If you say that, or if you have said that in the last month, show me. Show me. Like, prove to me that it hallucinated. That's what I'd have to see. And I could almost guarantee that it's a case where you asked it like the hardest question on the lowest like level of like thinking model. And then, yeah, okay, then I'd believe you. Right. But honestly, like I would love to see it. I'm looking forward to it. And I thought that it was going to be like end of this year. But with this kind of stuff, like that's all we need right now. Like I haven't seen anything with GPT. I haven't seen a single person come back with GPT since 5.5 released, and now 5.6 is like the standard. So I haven't seen a single person come back and be like, ah, no, but this answer was hallucinated. And now you got Opus 5. I'm sure, very sure, we haven't had a Haiku. You guys realize that? Like the big models, okay, that's one thing. It's when the little models make the jump. That's massive because the cost on the little models is obviously so low. But if you jump the little model up, and all of a sudden Haiku 5 is doing what like Sonnet 4.5 extra high used to do. Holy crap. Yeah, like emails are a joke. Forget emails. You're doing dissertations with Haiku now. Like, and the speed at which you're doing it, right? Jarvin's paradox. That many people able to use that fast a model that can produce content that quickly. Forget it. Man, token burn. Forget it. It's gonna be insane. The amount of stuff that like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be awesome if you run agents. It's going to be the greatest thing ever, especially now. If you run agents, it's pretty amazing. If you're using like the 5.6 family on GPT, I've never saved so much money. It's amazing. Like for the performance, the cost to performance ratio there is awesome. Would love to extend that to an Anthropic setup. And I do have a couple right now that span from Haiku to Fable, but they're just it's like 2 setups. But it's a 2x cost over my GPT setups, even like in some cases 2.5x. So it's harder for me to want to run those setups right now. But if Haiku jumps up, okay, now I can run that setup. I can tweak the percentages and the weights for like which model is routing to which. And now it's a different game. Now the Anthropic setup probably gets used more, and I can ship that out a little bit more. Um, I'm really looking forward to that. Like, this is amazing, but this to me is almost like a signal flare that, like, hey, Haiku 5's coming like real soon, like maybe 2-3 weeks. We're gonna have to release that one because it's been months, honestly. And I've never complained about a small model not getting upgraded before, except for the time when we didn't get GPT 5 mini for like ever. Um,
Right.
but this, like, I don't like Opus 5 is it's crazy, man. Like, so it's like you're bouncing back and forth. That's why I try to stay agnostic, because it's like you never know, for one thing. And for another, it's really sick now for me to be able to say, okay, if I'm maxed on my Kimi 3, then I can go to Opus 5 because that's pretty much the same thing. And token burn wise, it's not the same. It's definitely more, but I can definitely get as much done for a little bit more in the cost. Um, while those like timers reset, and then maybe jump over to Codex if I manage to burn through my Claude sub. But it is at such a level that, again, if you're talk about harness, if you if you're like your files and your structure around your harness for like Codex and Kimi and Claude, if it's the same one, you're getting the same performance, like the same attitude per se, the same feel out of that shell. Just that the underlying model is different. This would normally make a difference. It would normally be a thing. We're finally at the point where it doesn't matter. Finally, you can go between Kimi 3, and I've been doing it, so I'm telling you, you can go between Kimi 3, Opus either like high or Fable low, and then GPT 5.6 Soul on low, or what's the middle one? Oh gosh, I forget. Anyway, or the middle model Luna, I think. No, the Luna's the lowest one. Terra, I think, is the middle one. Um, I'm trying. They keep making they're making it difficult, man. It's I don't know what to tell you, but like, yeah. So Terra on high or Soul on low. Anyhow, if you go across that band, you're using the same, let's say, brain strength or whatever. Like Kimi low, Fable low, 5.6 low is the same thing. Don't care. I've pumped out the exact, like nearly the exact same output from those settings. And I say nearly the exact same because everybody's brain thinks a little bit differently. So the design was a little bit different with all of them, but they all went about it the exact same way. They all followed the instructions to the exact same degree. You can use goal on all of these models. So that's the best part to me, is if you just slash goal and give the same prompt, that's amazing to me, because it's like, oh, it has to like giving it the goal and then like taking the reins off and saying like, yeah, okay, auto mode, like accept everything except for major system changes. That's the best way, in my opinion, to try to test between like, oh, what levels should I use for what kind of thing, right? And you don't have to go like super complex with it. You can even tell it something as simple as like, hey, create a clock application that, whatever, that I can set an alarm for. And then just give it to all three of them at whatever the various levels are. And you'll see visually, like you'll be able to, and like from the files, like you'll be able to see the structures and who does what and how they do it. Right. But I'm telling you, at this point, it doesn't matter. It's awesome. It is so awesome that it doesn't matter, because now I have 3 subs at reasonable pricing levels, where I was doing like 200 here and 50, no, like 200 here, 100 here, and like almost 100 over here. Now it's 200 square. Like I only have to do 100 for Claude because it burns the most out of everybody else. it is what it is, Anthropic. I don't know what to tell you. Bring them costs down. You said you would.
Said Opus is half the cost of Fable,
I mean,
right?
like, but what's that? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's still high, still higher than everybody else. Like, yeah,
it's
yeah,
only
there's
half
a
the cost
reason.
of the most expensive shit. Like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a reason
I get it.
their revenue model is working out for them.
I get it. Oh,
And
well,
why
I
they
mean,
don't.
that's another nice sort of story going on today too. Is some more blowback, and I gotta say, every story that I hear about with regards, and I mean, this is directly relative to Opus 5 releasing because of the fact that like there's just tons and tons of stories out there of like XYZ company is now, in the gutter because they burn their entire year of token budget, in the first month of using whatever model. And it's like, okay, I don't know what like I don't know. I don't know what these companies are. I don't know what they do. I don't care. What I do know is that if you hand, if you take a magic wand that costs a lot of, whatever resource, doesn't matter what it is, and you just give it to everyone, you're going to end up with a lot of resource burn. That's just a natural thing. I don't understand where people are so blown away with, oh my gosh, how could this possibly happen? What's weird to me is that no one in any of these organizations who are flabbergasted bothered to spend any of that token usage to build a calculator to be able to actually estimate how much. Like,
It's
that would
wild,
have
dude.
been the first thing I would have done, is like, hey, how about we use this to build some type of a meter so that we can, actually gauge how much we're using, right? All those numbers exist and you can track all of that information. Like, it all gets tracked. So on the back end of whatever system you're running an agent on, it is already tracking tokens. It can pull that stuff from backlogs if you have it connected
Yeah, yeah.
properly to a database, and you know
It's
what the
only
prices are public. So
it's only a black box if you let it be. And like that's the thing we try to activate in everybody. Like
yeah,
just it's the best loop that you can create for yourself is like the moment it's like, man, I wonder about this, or this doesn't feel right, or why does it work that way? You just do that, you put that in the AI machine, and then you'll find out. Like you'll get that question answered, right? Like so for example, as we wrap, uh I said I said to the team, surprised this didn't make the list. And I just gave an image of Claude Opus 5 being available. I didn't say like looks like there was an announcement today for Opus 5, right? I was like, surprised this didn't make the list. Also surprised that HubSpot was number one slot. Was that a homer pick? Uh the honest answer on the first one isn't flattering to me. Straight answers to both. And the first one is on me. The Opus 5 miss is real. Claude Opus 5 launched today. And then it gives me the announcement that it missed. Um, that last detail makes it worse. The biggest story of the day was thematically perfect for the segment you actually ran. An episode about what AI operations cost and which numbers aren't instrumented on the day a frontier vendor shipped an explicit cost versus capability dial. You found out from your own terminal banner. Was HubSpot number one a homer pick? Yes. And I wrote the bias into the brief. 2 lines. This is the why, right? I was wondering, like, and since I asked, 2 lines I gave the curator did it. So the curator was the agent that prepped the episode. And in it, significance judged for HubSpot / RevOps practitioners and AI native operators. And the second line, does this change what a practitioner can do? Not, quote, big AI company did a thing, end quote. The first names HubSpot as the scoring lens, so a HubSpot story is structurally advantaged before any judgment happens. The second explicitly discounts exactly the shape a frontier model release takes. The curator did what it was told. That's not its call being wrong. It's my selection, the orchestrator. It's my selection standard being biased, and Opus 5 falling straight through the gap I built. Right? So all of that was in the prompt that the orchestrator gave to the subagent. So there was a clear, we don't have to wonder anymore why HubSpot was number one. We had a good guesstimate, right? But then it comes back with here's the evidence, right? And you got to start asking folks, like, also in the moments where you're asking AI to set up everything and do everything for you, and think that you're somehow going to be on the hook for troubleshooting.
Right.
Like, nope, you're just going to go back to AI and say, hey, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also a question of like, if you look, and as you go along, like this stuff comes to pass. Like the other day, I basically created a you don't know what you don't know skill, right? And that's for a very obvious reason. And it's not necessarily to do with like coding. We're well beyond that. We've already got recursive self-improvement going on. Like the agents are handling things extremely well in that regard. But when you are building out like either an app or a platform, that doesn't mean that you necessarily know exactly what that ICP or what that platform should entail or how it should entail those things, or what the data map should look like or how it should properly get built out necessarily. The agent might know, let's say, what tools to use and how to use those tools. That's a whole separate thing than like, hey, if we're building a CRM for medical versus if we're building one for automotive versus if we're building one for automotive parts sales versus if we're building one for automotive repair versus automotive body repair versus whatever it might be, and that's just you might not think that those are separate needs, that you could build just one CRM that could facilitate all of automotive. Why not? Right? Because they all do actually have little niches. They do actually have little needs that go in between there, right? So it is the case that like if you might have a really good model that understands how to code, but you don't have a great model that understands what the need is for what it is that you are coding, right? So like that's why I built this skill, because it's like, all right, I'm building out, let's say because we're playing around with building games all the time, and like I'm building out this game, but it's like I don't know what I don't know in terms of building video games, right? But I do know what I want as an end product. So like here's what that is, and then we just go through that list of questions of like, what do you want it, all this other stuff. And of course when it comes to the technical stuff, Aries is nice enough to like, hey, there were like 32 technical questions in there, but I already answered those. So really, you only have to answer these 3.
Exactly. So I think it'd be good on Monday to show, because this is what I'm going to do. So I'll make sure I do it in a way that
the game is completely different already. It's
right.
Already now in like 3D, like motion and everything. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, I am not going to just what I've done now, because I didn't set up any of my system. Like the agents have done all that. So when a new model drops, I'm like, hey V, what do you think? What does that look like for us? It's not me deciding, oh, well, because benchmarks, I'm definitely going to move over there. I'm definitely going to spend extra tokens, extra cost, like what's been happening with Fable in some circles. Like, because of course I didn't build the current architecture. Like my human domain expertise came in like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Maybe I can build some agents that will be able to have more expertise than me to build this out. So then to all of a sudden say, oh man, I got to troubleshoot, I got to figure this out, I got to learn everything about 5 versus 4.8 and benchmark. Like, nope, I'm not doing any of that. And I'm thankful that I have a wonderful agent team set up that is already doing good work uh, to help me figure that out. So I'll do that, and we'll have the report ready for Monday. Because I'm definitely going to check out some Opus 5, and we'll let you know how it goes. So until then, get ready for some fun building next week. We always have great stuff to talk about after a weekend.
Oh yeah.
So everybody have a great one, and we'll see you on Monday. Later.
Safe.